Hey, I've got these scales here, and they are scratched. See all that? I mean, a bunch. Okay? Well, I've got these sanding blocks that I picked up, and this particular kit, and I'll link it below, comes with all kinds of different grit sandpapers, all the way out to 3,000 grit. Now they recommend to do these really finer grits, the 1,500 to 1,200. They recommend to do those wet, but you don't have to. And so I'm going to sand these scales and get all of that out and put a hand finish on it. Now, I wanted to also mention that I have intentions of doing some hand finishing on some blades, and I've got this wonderful vise that I can mount and grab a blade horizontally like this, and then I could work on that. Let's see, yeah. So once I lock that in, then I can go ahead and sand on that finish. I just need to get this mounted to my bench, man. This thing's been here for months. I've been meaning to do it, and I bought all the hardware. I mean, I'm ready to put it on there. So many projects, man. Getting the other side up, and managing videos here and doing all that. So, anyways, I wanted to finish these scales. I run the video on this, and I've been meaning to get these scales sanded up, and so tonight's the night. And so, here's what I'm going to do. I am just going to double side a piece of tape down on this mat to hold that scale flat. And it will be enough for me to do what I'm doing, because it's not like I'm not putting a mountain of pressure down on that to do what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put this down like that, and then I can put my scale down on the tape, and it will hold that in place for me. Yep, perfect. And so I think this is 120 grit, but let's look. Pretty simple sanding block. I just take a piece of this right here. It's 180, and it's silicon carbide. So pretty tough stuff. And so I'll start with this. I'll get all them scratches out, and then we'll move to a finer grit. And I'm not sure where I'll land. I'm sure that there's a formula to do these hand finishes. I don't know what it is. So for me, it's just go until I'm happy with the result. And so what I want to do is I'm going to hold the tape back here, and then I'm going to go forward, because you want to do the whole scale. You don't want to do partially, because if you do it partial, then it leaves swirl marks. And, I don't want swirl marks. Yeah. I could have made this just a little longer, or I could have put the scale farther up at the top, because I'm kind of running into my finger, but that's okay. And I think I've already got it where I want it. Let's get it off of here and take a good look at it up close. And I may have to clean some glue or sticky stuff off of it. Let me get a rag. I want a dirty rag and some cleaner. Okay. So what I'm trying to see scratches underneath that finish, and see these here? I've still got some of these vertical scratches here in comparison to the horizontal sanding that I'm doing. And so I got to keep going until all I have is the horizontal scratches. And then I can reduce the grit size. But I mean, all in all, it's looking pretty good, right? I could probably stay a little straighter, I guess. Maybe I'll work on that, and we'll take a few more passes with that 180. I'm going to put a little more towards the front this time. That way I can hold and keep my fingers out of the way. All right. Okay, let's take another look. And I think you get the gist, so I'm probably going to break away and maybe catch you up when I'm wrapping up the next grit and I'm getting a little finer. Otherwise the video is going to be hours long, because this process doesn't happen in 10 minutes. It's not like me sharpening with the belt. But it is looking pretty good. I'm just looking for scratches now that are deeper than the scratches that I'm putting in. And I still see this one right here. Yeah, see, so I have to keep going until that's gone. Otherwise, I'm doing this for no reason, because when I go to a finer grit, the scratch will still be here. Where is it? Hard to see now. There it is. Right there. Okay, a little more. And so I did bend the frame lock. I bent it straight. So I'll have to readjust that when I'm done. All right, let's keep going. I mean, that 180 is a rough grit. I don't need to go any rougher, but I can't go finer until all the scratches underneath it are gone. So that the only scratches that are left on the scale are the ones that I'm currently putting on it. Make sense? Now, some would say that you do this. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to go one direction, keep everything consistent. It probably would remove these scratches quicker if I did that, but I can be patient and just get down like this right here. I mean, the finish that's on here already looks really good. It's just a little rough. All right, I got to look and see if that one scratch, that one elusive scratch is gone. Even if I had my vise up, I couldn't use it on this because it would cover part of the scale. And in order to make this really look good, I need to go across the whole surface of the scale from one end to the other without stopping or changing direction. Because if you do that, it'll leave an odd mark in the surface. All right, let's take a look. I mean, I think we're there, right? Looks pretty good. So, we've got the other grit out of the way. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to get a new piece of tape, because I can see there is a lot of grit down here on the pad. So I'm going to get rid of that. And we'll just use another piece of tape. It's okay. I could do the other scale. I could have done it. I probably should have. But for the purposes of the video, I'm going to do one. Otherwise, this thing will, man, it'll take forever. All right, I'm going to change this and then I'll pop back in. Okay, so I made sense of it. I went ahead and did the other one. There wasn't any reason to change sandpaper. So now they're both at 180, pretty smooth. So now I've got 240 on here. So we're going to go ahead and clean up the scratches that are on here down to a 240 grit. And we'll take a look at it because we're not far off from where we want to be, I don't think. This wasn't like a super satin finish. It was a fairly rough finish to begin with. All right, let's take a look. We did quite a bit of sand in there. I mean, that finish looks beautiful. And that's with 240 grit. See it here? I'll try to run that reflection across there. There's a few deep scratches from the 180 still. Just a couple. But yeah, beautiful. And here's in comparison. This is the 240 that you just saw me do, and this is the 180. And so let's you can see the depth of the scratches here. Let's see, maybe I'll run that. There you go. Yeah, it's much finer. Need to make sure I don't contaminate it because all it takes is one little piece of grit from that other size and it'll scratch up this grit and you'll be fighting yourself. You never catch up. I'm going to make a few more passes with this grit, this 240, and we may go one more grit down. Tape popped up on me. Okay, let's do the other scale. And then we'll clean these up and we'll go down one more grit, I think. Maybe a 320, I think. Or maybe, yeah, maybe a 320. Might be 480. I don't know. So these scales are perfect to illustrate this because they're long and they're flat. I don't have any contours. Now a lot of blades have different contours on them, but I've got some other stuff for it. So I've got some smaller sanding blocks that I can use on blades and smaller areas. So like if I've got a tiny area to work, these are a lot easier to work with. This one's great for, this would be great for this, but honestly, they're so long and so flat. And then this one is really good. It allows to do some contours, to get some different shapes. Here's a contour, yeah, different things. So I've got some different options to do this. But on these, this big flat sanding block is perfect. Oh, come on, man. Now, I could take this down, or honestly, if I was down at my bench, I could have just done it down there. I could have removed the backing here, but this is where I film, and so I didn't really want to ruin this backing. So get all that grit on it. All right, let's clean up all this grit, and we're gonna move down one more grit on this project. Change this tape, get it out of here. Okay, let's change the sandpaper. I mean, this thing's fairly inexpensive, and but it works perfect for what we're doing here right now. So we're gonna look past and see what we've got. We've got 400 grit. Let's do 400. Well, there's 320, so we're at 240. I guess 320. Let's do 320. I mean, it's quite a bit finer than that last one, so we'll see. It's pretty easy to load. You just roll the paper over it, and then this block pinches it down and tightens it all up for you, because it goes below the surface. And so as you tighten that down, it really pulls that tight. You know, tight enough for what we're doing here. You know, this is like a lot of things. I mean, I've seen, you can make this really complicated, or there's my version, which, isn't very complicated at all, and somehow seems to still get it done. I guess there's probably levels to getting it done as well. I mean, my level of getting it done is probably somewhat short of perfect, but acceptable to me. And somebody else's level of getting it done is perfect, I guess. You know what I'm saying. All right, we want that to be cleaned up. All right, tape. Tape. Just gonna fold it over. All right, here we go. Okay. Kind of going to get ahead of it here. Get most of the scratches out, and then we'll go one way. Yeah, that is a super satin finish now. All right, let's peek at it. What do you think? Should we stop there or go further and really start to create a satin finish? Go to the 400 or stop here? I don't know. I'm going to do the other scale, and while I do, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think, do I want to go one more step or just leave hole at the 320. Well, it's grit. I mean, it looks pretty darn good. What the heck? Let's go one more, okay? So we got to clean this up. I'll get it all set. I'll do the 400 and I'll be right back. Okay, 400 grit is loaded up. Scale is mounted. It's all been cleaned up. Let's see if this is where we end up. Ready to see it? It's always the best part, man, the reveal. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, buddy. All right, I've got some ethanol on here. Let's get a good look. I see a scratch here. And there's a little bit back here that I could clean up. And I see one there. I mean, I could just do a little more on it, but how's that look? I mean, stunning, right? I could go one finer, but I'm not sure that matches this knife. I'm going to put a little more work into it, though. I'll be right back. Okay, you ready for the reveal? We're going to wrap up. So, I finished the 400, and then I went to 600. Yeah, I couldn't help myself. Yep, I couldn't stop myself. And they turned out amazing. Now, I've already cleaned them for the grit, but they had some cleaner on them, so I'll wipe it. What do you think? All them scratches are gone. Beautiful hand finish on them titanium scales now. And I'm going to put that knife together and we'll look at it. All right, here we are. So this is a Kizer Rogue Dirk Pinkerton design. And I've got another video on it. If you're interested to get a real hard look of what it did look like, you go find that original Rogue video and you'll see. The pocket clip is currently being tumbled. The pocket clip is an anodized titanium. It didn't have a hand finish like the scales did. And so, yeah, I'm so happy with how this turned out. And I mean, I'm going to link below this block kit, and it comes with the paper. Very inexpensive. It's an Amazon affiliate link. If you're interested in trying something like that, I mean, listen, you saw it's just some tape on a bench to hold the scale, and take your time. This kit comes with 120 grit to 3,000. So I stopped at 600. I mean, I could have polished this thing straight out, but that hand finish is what I'm looking for. But same thing, man. You can use it on the flats of these blades, the flats here. it's amazing what you can do with just a little patience. Take your time, a little sanding block. Yeah, it just transformed this knife. It was so scratched up and it looked so used. I mean, it really did look like it was kind of beat. And now it doesn't. It doesn't look like a beat knife at all. I mean, I'm not going to say it looks new out of the box because I don't know what it looked like. When I had it, it looked pretty beat. But now it looks pretty awesome. I can't wait to get the clip done and see this thing completely put together. But anyways, I appreciate you watching, and that's what it's all about, man. Tinkering with knives. Appreciate you watching. If you're still here, I know that was a long video, but the pocket clip finished tumbling. And look at it. I mean, it was marred up. It was beat up. And so even with the anodizing on it, it just put a beautiful satin stonewash finish on there and got rid of all those little snail trails and everything that was on there. So let's put it on the knife. Look, let's remind ourselves of the finish on this. Man, did this thing come out nice. Just beautiful. Yeah, man. Really happy with it. And I could have went a lot finer on it and really made it pop, but I didn't want to do that, man. I just wanted to clean it up a little bit. Let's get this pocket clip up on here, and we'll get a final look at this knife. I actually saw recently, at the time of this video, there's a brand new one of these for sale on eBay. Brand new. But they want a fair piece of money for it too. So I picked mine up. It was a little scratched up. It had been handled. The blade had never been touched. There wasn't a scratch on it. Looked amazing. It was just somebody had put it in their pocket a few times. Yeah, come on, man. Look at this dude. Beautiful. Yep. I readjusted the lock, the frame lock. This thing's on double washers. It's got triple washers. It's got two brass washers and then a Teflon washer. And whoo, man, the action on this thing is so nice. Yeah, what a cool piece. The Kizer Rogue, Dirk Pinkerton. Come on, man. I expect nothing but excellence from Dirk anyways. This does not belong in this Tucson box, so we are going to stop highlighting that Tucson, and we'll wrap up. Hey, I appreciate y'all watching, and if you have any questions about doing that hand finish or whatever, don't hesitate. Let me know. But golly, is this transformed? Yep, went from kind of beat and used to, I don't know, looks kind of new. Yep, pretty slick. Appreciate y'all.